Jenny, thanks so much for coming here today and just be willing to share your son's story. So I just want to know a little bit maybe about some history of the things that you guys kind of had going on and just tell me about maybe some things that you've tried in the past and a bit about Scout's story.
Yeah, so I'll try to remember all of it. Honestly, it was just kind of a blur too. It's one of those things your mom got. It started with he stopped responding to his name, even turning his head towards us. And I was kind of like, okay, what's going on? And would get in front. And I told doctors about it and they just kind of pushed it off like it's a behavior thing. So that was the first step. And then there was when he would go be sent to his room, he would cry and throw himself, but it was a different kind of cry. It wasn't just a tantrum. He was looking for something and needed it. And one day my gut just told me like, this is not right. And I went and I laid on him and he calmed down immediately. So that input, it was just a little bit different. And he had rashes all over his legs ever since I could remember, which I didn't even realize was part of this. He was constipated ever since the day he was born. We tried everything under the sun just for even those two things. And then he started becoming really noise sensitive, going to basketball games. We couldn't really do all of those things. It was too loud. And so all of these signs were kind of popping up that, okay, something is different. He's not playing with other kids. His speech, he would do just enough to get by, be more and all done. But then it really wasn't there. Nothing was coming up. His attention, he was all over the place. It seemed like I almost lived in fear at some points because he would run and run and run. So going out to a restaurant, family vacations, even being outside, we live by a pond. And so we were really living in fear, essentially. I don't want to seem like that's dramatic, but it was constantly worrying what was going to happen. And so that's kind of how it started. And just as any mom, you go to Facebook, you start following mom blogs, and you try all of these detoxes that you think are working. You saw it on Facebook and one mom said it worked. So you're like, let's buy it and do it. And it obviously wouldn't work. And I was looking for that magic cure that was going to happen overnight. Like how can I help my son? And everything we did was failing. It was really hard watching him, sorry if I cry. It was hard because it wasn't like he wasn't going to make friends, or it seemed like he wasn't. And so, it was crazy. We went to the chiropractor actually for my newborn, and I could see Dr. Wilson. He's out of Hastings, Nebraska, and he was kind of watching Scout a little bit, and Scout was pacing and kind of talking to himself, babbling, I would actually say, even like a child, like a young child. And he asked me, do you have any concerns about him? Like, I do actually. Like, what are your thoughts? Would you be willing to lay him down on the table and see? And he kind of explained I don't want to get these words messed up, his sensory system or something like that was really off. And he's noticing certain traits. He said, I don't want to stamp a diagnosis. And that's obviously not in his scope. But he's like, I really recommend going to an Infinity Functional Neurology. Like, you guys just see what happens. He was really like, I think this is your path. Yeah, your path. And it was absolutely uncanny. I know. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional just thinking about it. And I'm just so happy that we found you guys.
Now, tell me, had you heard of primitive reflexes before coming to our office? Have you guys done any work with that prior?
No. So we took him to speech. At this rehab center, we took him to speech. He was getting speech at school, and OT kind of came in later, I would say. And when we came here and we talked about all the primitive reflexes, and I was learning just so much. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is completely mind blowing. Then obviously, once you guys said those couple words, then my Facebook just spilled with all these primitive reflex like things. And when when you guys started educating me, I just noticed it. Even just in play, when he was in a position of like, oh, I'm going to be the puppy. And if we turned, I mean, his arm would fall. It's like, wow, I did not even realize that was a thing.
It's so important that obviously you guys coming here and us working with Scout is so important, but you having a good foundation of, well, how should the brain and body develop? Those are such important things as a mom and as a parent, because, well, you don't just have one kid, right? You have multiple kids, and you even having that knowledge now, just it makes it so important because we obviously help families educate themselves, because you're the best advocate for your son, right? And for your family. So you knowing at least about how the brain should develop appropriately and seeing those warning signs, because you do have a mom gut and you do have these signs that are internally going on, making sure that, hey, something just isn't right. And I need to seek someone who knows a little bit about this and can help us. So that's great that you found at least some great information from our office and from our clinic of being able to understand a little bit more about what's it like for Scout and why is he acting or responding the way he is.
Yes, exactly. And another huge thing I learned here as well, I mean, with a bunch, but one that was really important to me, I suppose, was he used to we would go out and he would lay on the ground and suck his fingers. And he wouldn't be tired, but it was just really interesting. He would randomly do that for a long period of time. We would go to the gym. He'd just lay on the floor. And when I came here and I kind of mentioned that, they mentioned what was it? It was the brain, essentially the brain getting tired. And it wasn't producing enough energy or something like that. The energy, and it's not the same energy as you would think of a child running. There was a difference. And so that was very mind-blowing to me too. It's like, that makes so much sense, because his body wasn't tired. Like he could run and then out of
neurologically fatiguing.
Neurologically, just, yes, it was unbelievable. And that was another huge change we saw too. And he hasn't just gone and laid on the floor in a really long time. Well, ever since we started this, I suppose.
And that goes back to the point of you see all these things on the internet, right? And you think this might work for my child or this might work for my child. And truly having someone that takes the time to run the appropriate labs, to do the physical exam. I mean, we spend about an hour looking at all of these different things on how Scout's body is functioning, how his brain's functioning, in order to determine kind of what is the appropriate approach for him and what is the treatment plan that should be for him. Because not all kids are the same.
Exactly.
And just finding that person who's willing to work with you on that, because that's how you make those big changes, right? It's not by just
1000%
throwing things of let's try this or hey, I saw this, but truly having a good team that's willing to work with him and being able to make those next big steps. So
finding those root causes is really what I appreciated just at the beginning. All of the tests that you guys asked for, I was like, wow, they're really digging into this and they're going to find out what's going on. Like they are here to help completely. Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. It's been amazing.
Yeah, well, and you had mentioned a lot about how Scout's social interaction with kids. Well, just a second ago, he was in the lobby chit-chatting with other kids here and interacting and having that back and forth conversation. That is so huge. And I'm sure that probably makes you emotional just seeing that piece and how he's interacting now.
Yes. And in this summer we would be on the golf cart driving. He would just stop, say hi, have a little interaction. I'm like, oh, what is this? And initially I was so scared for him to go back to preschool. He really wasn't the teachers are amazing and they work with him, but he wasn't really interacting. And now he has friends. He'll talk to the bus driver. Like she reached out to me. The teachers have reached out like, oh my goodness. Just last night, we took him and his sister to Kids Empire. He found a new friend he was talking to, like actually playing with, not just next to, like it kind of usually was. And that parallel play versus actually interacting. And I was just completely mind blown. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh, my son will have friends. And that's something I really didn't know if it was going to happen, if he was ever going to be invited to a birthday party or anything like that. So that was really special. Sorry.
No, you don't. Yeah, and I guess I should preface for viewers that this is Scout's. He's returning for a second intensive this week. And,
yeah.
what was the time from your first intensive to now? What was the gap of time in between? Roughly?
Okay. End of April, May, June, July, August, September. So 4 or 5 months, about 4.5.
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's
the drop in the
all.
bucket, right?
Yeah.
For all the time that had surpassed beforehand of you guys trying all of these different pieces to now, that's not a lot of time.
It's not at all. It's unbelievable, actually.
And that just goes to show how much change you can make in the brain in a short amount of time, because kids are so resilient. Their brain is growing so rapidly and changing so rapidly that you can make really big changes to them neurologically.
Yes.
Just you need the right tools and support.
1000% the right tools and support. And I cannot thank you guys enough. My entire family, teachers, everyone has been like praying over you guys, and the whole team too, and the other kids that go here. And so, yeah, it's been every night.
So much. I appreciate that. And I know our whole team does. And we love all of our families here so well. And I'm sure you just coming here and seeing the different providers that work with your son is we try to love on our kids so well. And that's kind of a part of healing the brain and the body, right? Is making sure that you're doing it with love and the best intentions. So thank you for praying over us. That's really kind. So now, this is the second intensive, right? So tell us a little bit about, you mentioned that social interaction got a lot better. Tell us a little bit more, some big changes that you've seen in Scout from the first intensive to now, and kind of what made you guys come back for an additional intensive.
Okay. Well, I should have made a list. It's unbelievable, actually. But so this is such a small thing, but he had the rashes I mentioned completely gone. His constipation issues completely gone. We had struggled with potty training even, and this last couple weeks, actually like 2 or 3 weeks, he's almost potty trained all the way. And that's another thing with so many accidents. I really didn't know if that was going to happen for us actually for a while. And it just started, 2 weeks ago, maybe, that it was like consistent. Yeah. But I think it had to do with also that constipation a little bit too. Maybe he was scared to go. I don't know, but that was a huge thing in our household specifically. And his language, he is following directions and he's understanding what we're telling him too. And I know these aren't necessarily as important, but his academic skills, he's more ready to learn now and accept information. His attention, he'll just run around like a crazy person. And a lot of that I know is boys too. So it's kind of like, where's the line here? But just paying attention to what's going on in front of him. A year ago today, I was on my time hop. He couldn't drink from an open cup. He wasn't coordinated enough to do, even the swallow, like open his mouth, keep his lips rounded, ready for that. And now he can. You don't even see those changes fully because there's just little by little, and you see him every day. But when that time hop came up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is where we were. And it's amazing. And like I said, all of the speech, he can communicate his feelings. And so I can talk to him through his feelings. So he's not like crazy upset about something that we're like, I don't know what happened. We're just going to have to work through it. He doesn't need as much input. So he's not running to me for hugs and constant squeezes. I mean, it was very consistent too. He doesn't need as much of that anymore. And I'm sure there is so much more. I should have really wrote a list.
That's great. And I want to touch on a little piece that you were referencing about the potty training and the bowel movements, because we see that all the time. And learning to potty train, it can be a multitude of different things, but overall, being able to feel that sensation and being able to potty train, that's a brain maturation piece. So as we're growing and developing the brain and making new neural connections, that is a byproduct of that. So great that we're able to see those wins, right? Because there are kids, right, that have done so many therapies and do all of those pieces, and they still aren't potty trained, and they're 7 and 8 and all of these pieces.
Well, even my mom groups that I was on Facebook, they were talking about the wins. Their wins were potty training at 8 years old. I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to have to wait that long? Like in fear, kind of living in fear too. So that was supposed to be the win. And yeah, here we are right now at 4. That's pretty, almost typical, a typical child. So I'm like, just can't believe it.
So you were saying that he also had a ton of rashes. And I know before you guys even came in, we ran a bunch of labs, one of those being the total toxic burden lab. And I still remember your son's report. I'm going through, I'm scrolling about 3 pages long of all of the different toxins, the mycotoxins, the heavy metals, the environmental toxins. His body just was not detoxing effectively. And typically when that happens, we see a lot of skin breakouts. That's kind of a byproduct, right? So we did that lab about 6 months ago, and we just reran it not that long ago. And the improvements from then to now were huge, right? We had tons of toxins, and there still are some, and we still need to switch a few things.
Absolutely.
It's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in a 6 months time frame, if we can get a child from going from all of these rashes and skin breakouts to significantly reducing their toxic load and helping his little body, that plays so much dividends in the stress that is on his little system.
Yeah.
Right. So that's amazing to see that we're able to kind of compare and contrast and see not only from a developmental piece and reflex piece, but we're also seeing it from an environmental inflammatory piece as well. So that's
great. To just have that piece of paper too. You look at it and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is all in the red.
I remember that call.
Yeah, I was like, listen, everything's in the red. Please tell me what's going on. And that fear piece came in. But you're also like, okay, I have some answers. Now, how do I move forward? And so you guys educated. We did all the things at home. And getting that piece of paper that you can look at and you can see the improvements right in front of you is just, you just feel like you're doing something right. Yes, another win. And yeah, that was amazing. I was really looking forward to that. That's probably why I was emailing you. I'm like, oh, are those in yet?
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm so glad all of the progress that your son's made.
Yeah.
Great to see. And that's the reason why we do it, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's so great to be able to sit across the room from you today and just hear your guys' story and how much we've made a difference. I love being able to do that with families because, I mean, if you don't address these issues at the very beginning or while a child's developing, you can see all of the trickling effects and all of the obstacles that you have to go through down the line. And I just so urge parents, if your mom gut is firing and there's something not right, addressing it early on is so much easier than waiting or they're going to grow out of it. That's a common phrase that we hear all the time. And then all of a sudden your child's 8, 12 and dealing with these same issues that could have been addressed early on.
Yeah. And I think it would be easy, kind of like I said earlier, to just put a stamp or put a label on a kid, call it good, and learn compensatory strategies to just move on with their life. That would be the easy route. And I'm so glad that that's not the road we took. I'm just so glad we found you guys.
Is there anything else that you just want to let other families know? People kind of watching this podcast, anything that you feel like you want to say to anyone that might be watching?
Maybe just telling them, all of the families, that it can be really isolating, have a child with those symptoms, because you really don't go out and you don't know anybody else that might have these issues, but you're really not alone. And there are things you can do to help and move forward to kind of normalize your life a little bit more. So you're not alone, and there is help and support out there.
And that was really hard for you, those first couple months or seasons of you just seeing those things with Scout and how can I fix them and who do I need to go to and doing all the research you possibly can, right? That's hard to have all of that weight on your shoulders of I'm not only mom, but I am his researcher, his dietitian, his nutritionist, his doctor. You wear all the hats.
All of the things. Yeah.
And just feeling like you don't have that support elsewhere could be really, really hard on families. So
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for sharing your story today. And
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
it's been so great seeing the changes that Scout has and you just being able to share those with everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.